else on the agenda?
Yeah, you know what? There is. Actually,
I'm not
it
sure.
is to talk about the agenda
Not sure
on this
if we're
video.
ready for it yet.
Cool. So that's what we're gonna
Is
do.
there anything else on the agenda?
Yeah.
We want to tell
what?
you
There
about
is.
something that we do as a company, and also as
actually,
friends.
it
Yeah.
is
Kevin
to talk
came up
about
with
the
it.
agenda.
So
on
this
this video.
is kind of
Cool. So
put
that's
it
what we're
in-
gonna do.
Make it interactive language.
We want
This
to tell
is
you about
solving
something that we
the
do as a
problem of
company, and
not
also
getting
as
to
friends.
share your
Kevin
ideas.
came up with it, right?
So this is
Because
kind
Kevin
of,
and I, we both
put it
have lots of
in, make
ideas,
it
like I'm sure you
interactive
do,
language.
and
This
as
is
friends, we like
solving
sharing
the
them,
problem of
but sometimes we
not
like to
getting
interrupt.
to share your ideas.
And
Right.
so we created this agenda thing, which is essentially text messages. That's how it started out for us, at least. So Kevin would send me a text message that would say agenda at the front, and then had something like, "Oh, I want to tell you about how I lifted 800 pounds yesterday," and then I would say, like, "Oh, okay, yeah, let's do that." And then eventually we started sending things back and forth, and I'd be like, "Agenda, I lifted 6 pounds today," and then he would say, like, "Agenda, I solved the problem of Trinitarian analogies today," and that's how. Anyways, so what happened is that sometimes we wouldn't hang out for a couple of days, and then the agenda items would pile up, and then we'd get together, and voila, we would actually remember all the things that we wanted to tell one another because we had the agenda. We had this conversation in text where it just had it, in bullet form already. And so that's been really helpful for us to remember things that we want to talk about and to not forget them. And also so that when... did you have something?
Yeah. So
Right.
one of them. So one of them, I guess, first of all, is to explain another.
Well, explain what this is.
Another little invention that we came
Right.
up
So this is
with.
the second invention of communication.
Yeah. So this is the hand signals that we came up with because we have a problem that we used to interrupt each other a lot when we would be in conversation, and so we came up with this thing where if the other person was talking, instead of interrupting that person with our idea, we would start putting forward fingers when we had ideas. So each finger stands for an idea of something that we want to say. So I got one down, Chad, you can get yours in.
Yeah, I was just going to say that I actually was going to interrupt you and say that we don't interrupt each other anymore, but I was able to wait and remember that I was going to say that about interrupting because of this invention of the finger.
Yeah.
Keep going, Kevin.
Yeah, so that's the general idea. One other thing that I was going to mention back on the agenda is that it helps if you're someone who doesn't talk as much, you're not as outgoing of personality, and you have a friend who is a little talkative and an external processor. It can help reconcile those differences and make sure that both people get to talk. And the finger thing can also help with that as well.
Right. What I like about the finger thing is that it's very visual, and that I can tend to talk a lot without really noticing that I'm talking a lot, and I can process out loud and just keep processing. But the second I see that finger or notice it, maybe he's held it up for like a minute and I haven't realized it, but once I see it, I know, oh, it's time for me to pause maybe, once I get my thought out or finish what I want to say, and then pass the baton off to Kevin.
Yeah, and last one was just, I was thinking it also helps you remember your ideas. Sometimes you're in a conversation, and if you are polite enough to not interrupt the other person, you can have an idea, but then you don't do anything to signal that you have that idea, and so then it goes away. Whereas if you have like this visual cue for yourself, you can associate your ideas with each finger, and it can help you remember them.
Yeah, and really, it's a solution of love, I think, because so much of relationships is communication, and so when we found a problem in our own friendship, as friends and as business partners, we found this solution, and we'll no doubt find other ones to help us keep our communication strong, and so that we can love one another better.
Because that's really what our friendship and our company is all about. Part of our kind of slogan is that we live to make, to give. So the ultimate aim of coming up with ideas, with communicating, with making products is so that you can give them to others, so you can love other people. So
speaking of making things and of giving things, I wrote a song for you, Kevin.